Hey, welcome to Screenplay Junkie. My name's Drew Hellmich, and I'm a screenwriter. Film is a pretty sweet medium of art. However, before anything can make it to the big screen, it must start as a blueprint, text on paper. So if you're a fellow addict of film and storytelling, come join us as we take a look at various types of screenplays, short stories, and other source material that were crucial to the creation of the stories that we all love. I must warn you, though, there will be spoilers, so I do recommend being familiar with the title that's being discussed. Sound good? Cool. Then let's get started. Faced with droves of gremlins, what kind of weapons would you use to combat them?
So wait,
kind of weapons?
We're saying gremlins are attacking us right now?
Yeah, well, yeah, if they were ever to attack you in any sort of situation, what kind of weapons? Only, let's say, Bryan, so at your apartment, Matt, right here at our house, so only the things that are in your reach, what would you use?
Baseball bat.
Well,
Instantly going for the baseball bat, swinging for the fences. But the problem is we're in the basement, though. The baseball bat's in the garage.
Exactly.
So like near to me right now, I'm looking at chairs. I don't think those would be too good. We got some old printers. We got some old printers. Those are heavy. I could chuck those at them. There's like lamps. There's lamps everywhere in our fucking basement. Like a lot of lamps.
Yeah.
That is true.
Lamp's a good substitute for a baseball bat any day.
I think I'd go for my nice 24-inch metric metal ruler I have here.
You gotta.
I think I can do some damage with that.
You better sharpen it. Better sharpen that first.
I was thinking kitchen knives too.
Kitchen knives, yeah.
But none of our kitchen knives are sharp.
Yeah,
honestly,
they are.
In this whole house, I don't think they're that sharp. Personally,
I mean, if
I
like,
also have this half stick of dynamite.
just laying around.
yeah, right, sure.
For a rainy day.
I'd just use a flashlight. You know, have a flashlight and then like set a baseball
yeah.
bat because we have tons of baseball bats here. But
They
again,
hate light.
Yeah,
Yeah, just turn all the lights on.
exactly. But if they did cut the power, then you'd have to grab like a flashlight or something, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Drew, Matt, and Bryan here. Welcome to episode number 11 of Screenplay Junkie. And today we're going to be looking at Gremlins, the horror comedy from 1984. The script date that we have is April 27th, 1982. It was written by Chris Columbus, and it was apparently the second draft, and it comes in at 114 pages.
Produced by Steven Spielberg too.
Yes.
We chose this movie too. We'll just say off the bat. Yeah, it is cool
like,
when you figure that out that Spielberg was involved. But
Oh, yeah, totally.
we chose this definitely as like a Christmas movie, and we just kind of slacked on getting it out around Christmas time. But we're a month late. But it's a great movie, so I think that's still worth
I
covering.
watched it after Christmas. I still enjoyed it. You know, they got some good Christmas songs in there. Let's go right back into the scene of Christmas for a little while.
Definitely. I mean, the movie
Absolutely,
wasn't
yeah.
even released on Christmas. It was actually released in the summer, but we'll get into that. It's a great movie. We'll get into it.
And I'm wearing my Gremlin shirt, so I'm ready.
Oh, nice.
It's a pretty graphic T-shirt there. Oh, actually, never mind. I thought I saw blood. They're just hanging out in the movie theater eating popcorn.
Yeah, they just, one's got sunglasses on, another's got a soda or a pop or a beer possibly. The other guy's just got nothing. He's just chilling.
Oh, that's something I didn't even think of. Like when Gremlins were invading us, like when we were talking about weapons,
Yeah.
they'd probably drink all our beer.
Yeah, exactly.
All our booze, like eat all our food, so that we would have time maybe to go upstairs and get that baseball
Dude,
bat.
they would take all my cigarettes because now I'm smoking all those cigarettes as my New Year's resolution.
Gremlins.
All right, do we want to go into the IMDb info here?
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool.
Whoa. I looked up Gremlin t-shirts, and there's a lot of cool ones.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude, you should add a ton of your wardrobe.
Let's just stop the show and shop for Gremlin T-shirts.
Yes, add to cart.
So like Drew said, it was released in 1984 on June 8th. I'll read the log line now. A boy inadvertently breaks 3 important rules concerning his new pet and unleashes a horde of malevolently mischievous monsters on a small town. Holy alliteration. Malevolently mischievous monsters. I didn't even say it right.
Did you just say
Mischievous.
Yeah.
Man, that's a wow. What a doozy. All right, well, moving on. Directed by Joe Dante. Fun fact on Joe Dante, too, the director, he actually prefers Gremlins 2. He prefers the second one to the first.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that one's just way goofier.
To each their own. It was written by Chris Columbus, starring in this movie.
It was The Explorer.
What'd you say?
You look into that. It's Christopher Columbus, The Explorer.
Yeah, The Explorer, exactly.
In 1492, he sailed the ocean blue, and then in 1984, he wrote Gremlins. Just a man of mystery and just
longevity.
Yeah. First, he gave polo to the Native Americans, and then he wrote Gremlins.
Yes.
Polio.
Yeah, polo.
He gave him swine flu. All right, starring in this movie, Hoyt Axton plays Randall Peltzer, the dad, who's like the inventor guy.
Yeah.
So Zach Galligan plays the main character, Billy Peltzer. Phoebe Cates.
Sure.
Phoebe.
Yeah.
She plays Kate Beringer, like the lead woman, Billy's love interest in the movie.
Yeah.
And then we have Corey Feldman playing Pete Fontaine, and I mean everybody else is kind of just a no-name.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good.
Really, there's really nothing in there.
Let's head to the box office here. They made this movie for $11 million in 1984. $11 million.
Okay.
And most of that budget too went to the Gremlins because there was no CGI in 1984. All these creatures were made using like animatronic puppets. So they took up a huge portion of that $11 million budget.
And it looks really good. You watch it today, and it looks really
great,
nice.
You know?
All the effects hold.
When they were effects, it would just look cheesy as all hell.
You thought it looked cheesy?
Animatronics. I'm all for animatronics.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. I'm definitely for practical effects.
Yeah, it's
I
dope.
think-
For $11 million, it's really cool. But the cool thing I want to get to here is that the movie grossed in the USA $148 million.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's huge.
Wow.
That's good.
That is huge.
That's definitely what approved for the second edition of Gremlins.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they knew in the first week of the box office that they were going to make part 2.
Yeah. I mean, plus they probably had all the leftover puppets and stuff.
Horror comedy, I mean, I think in the 80s is kind of when horror comedy kind of got its start, honestly.
I mean, this is probably one of the first movies that did it well, blended both genres really nicely together. I'm sure there are others that existed before Gremlins.
Yeah, what's kind of interesting, I guess, too, is that this movie was released on the same day as Ghostbusters, which is kind of horror comedy as well. But I mean, Ghostbusters is way more comedy. I don't know. I can't. They're in the same category.
Exactly, Brian. That would be like a great day for a double feature at the theater for sure.
Definitely.
That'd be a little back-to-back action.
Yeah.
Yeah, just suck down like 5 Dr. Peppers and like 2 big bags of popcorn.
Yeah, just be a gremlin.
Yeah, exactly.
Big gremlin.
All right, cool. I mean, we kind of just talked about some trivia, but I'll get into some more stuff I have here.
All right, sounds good.
So the set of the movie takes place in Kingston Falls. Same thing in the screenplay. Kingston Falls.
Yeah, like Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. And the same like town, the set, it was the same one used for Back to the Future in 1985.
Nice.
And both films were filmed there in this Universal Studios backlot.
Yeah.
So Universal Studios is behind Back to the Future and Gremlins.
Nice.
Next up, I got that Howie Mandel voices Gizmo.
Yeah,
in the
that's
movie.
right. I never knew that. That's so random.
You might know Howie Mandel from Deal or No Deal. He's the bald guy
with
that
the
just,
soul patch.
Yeah, with the soul patch, and he wants to like fist bump everybody because he's afraid of like giving people handshakes.
Is he a germaphobe?
Deal or No Deal? I don't know.
Are you kidding me?
Is he a germaphobe? Deal or No Deal?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which case will you pick? Don't pick that one. There's a gremlin in it. Let's see here. Oh, this is pretty. This is just animal cruelty here. An early attempt to like figure out what to do and how to make these gremlins like good for the movie was to put monkeys in gremlin suits and just
What?
have them run around.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, I know. They put a mask basically, like a gremlin head on a monkey, and it panicked and it freaked the hell out. And then they knew that day that they had to do puppets.
That makes no sense. You can't control the behavior of the monkey and what they're going to do.
It's like a monkey wearing a mascot costume.
That makes no sense.
It'd be like the whole movie would go Planet of the Apes. Gremlin style.
I've mentioned briefly earlier that a lot of this movie's budget was spent on these puppets. Well, every night when every person on the set, anyone in the cast was leaving the set, they had to be searched by security to make sure they weren't stealing a gremlin, because that's how much money these cost.
I'm sure somebody got out with one.
Maybe.
Dude, they're fucking cool though.
They are really cool.
They're so cool.
They're not cheap. And that wraps up the trivia.
Okay, cool.
I want to talk about the writer real quick,
All right,
if you guys
cool.
want to, and just how, so the screenplay we read, when you watch the movie, it is nothing like it. It is entirely different.
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of like
different, yeah.
we covered A Quiet Place earlier
Yeah.
in the show, episodes back, and it was kind of the same thing where the screenplay versus the movie are two separate entities just like existing in the same world. That's kind of what they are.
Right.
But it's just kind of cool how in both cases, I guess, A Quiet Place and here in Gremlins, it's the same writer that kind of stuck with it. I guess John Krasinski was there for A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Through Gremlins, it was just Christopher Columbus
Yeah,
writing
the
it
whole
the whole
time.
time, just
Yep.
being influenced by Spielberg.
Yeah. And I think he was 26 years old when he sold this script to, I don't remember, maybe Warner Brothers. I can't remember the production
Warner
company.
Brothers.
Wow.
Yeah, but at 26-year-old, he was right out of New York, the New York Film School. And, how awesome would that be? His first feature film to ever get produced, and he's hanging out with Steven Spielberg and mentored by him.
Yep.
So sweet.
It's unreal.
I guess I do have a little more trivia,
when
too.
you
Oh, what were you saying,
throw
Brian?
an idea out like this, though,
How do you get the idea?
it's like, it's just amazing. Yeah.
Oh, I know how he got it. That's what I was going to say. When he was living in New York, he would hear rats and mice crawling around his apartment,
Yeah.
and that's what gave him the idea.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. That's just crazy, you
Oh,
know?
wow.
Something like that just spawns this ridiculous
Critters you can't see crawling around your apartment. But then he was like, oh, what if they're like 2 feet tall and can kind of communicate to each other and kill you?
Gremlins?
Yeah. And then the last bit of trivia I forgot to mention is that this writer, Chris Columbus, he actually went on to direct Home Alone.
Yeah. He also he wrote the Goonies too.
Oh, yeah, and he wrote The Goonies.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a pretty successful guy.
And he sailed the ocean blue in 1492. Christopher Columbus, a man of many talents.
He is the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah, Dos Equis, sign him up. They need a new spokesperson.
He fits the bill. Now, like we briefly spoke about in the last segment, we said that the script is really different from the film in that, what do you guys, it was really violent, man.
It's a horror script.
This is a
It's
total
real
horror
violent.
film. Like,
The only thing funny in it is
Yeah.
that the Gremlins like giggle as they're killing people, and they're having fun.
Yeah.
They think it's
scary
funny.
in itself, you know?
I mean, yeah, this was a terrifying
I guess
screenplay, I
that's
thought.
funny.
I loved it. I mean,
It was really good, yeah.
I really liked it. It's a no-brainer why Spielberg liked it. He just wanted to bring out the comedy aspect, probably just to sell more, to make it PG, more
Yeah.
audiences, more
Yeah.
ticket sales.
Yeah,
It makes sense, but
It's a Christmas.
I would have liked to seen the original screenplay into a movie.
hell yeah.
I would have liked to see that version, even though I like Gremlins in its current state. Don't get me wrong, but I would have loved to see the giraffe that Columbus had. Now, before we talk about different scenes that we found, I just want to quickly cover the characters because comparing to the film and the screenplay, some people have very different personalities.
Definitely.
And some people just don't exist at
No
all.
one's really the same. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, not
Well,
even
I mean,
the dad, because he's an
that's
inventor
true.
in the movie.
So we're going to start with the movie first. So Billy, he's our main character. He's the guy who gets Gizmo.
Billy boy.
He's a
Billy
bank.
boy.
He's a bank teller, and he's an aspiring cartoonist. And then we have Rand or Randall. This is Billy's father. He's the guy that gets Gizmo.
The goofy inventor.
Yeah. In the film, he's a goofy inventor. Like, on all of his inventions just don't work. They
None of
all
them work.
backfire.
None of them work.
Which is pretty hilarious.
And the family just lets it happen.
Exactly. And then we have Lynn. That's Billy's mom. And she's kind of just like a stereotypical house mom. But later on, she defends her kitchen from the Gremlins.
Yep. Classic.
And there's Kate. That's Billy's coworker and like his love interest. This is played by Phoebe Cates. And
She'd be my love interest if I ever worked at a place.
She's
with her.
attractive, yeah.
She's like the hottest girl from the 80s of all time. She's up there. Yeah. She's up there, for sure. I mean, she's the girl in Fast Times at Ridgemont High that walks out of the water in slow motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
true. That's absolutely
yeah.
true, yeah. But her most defining part in this film is she shares a really disturbing Christmas story about her dad. If you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about.
Right.
Dude, that is absolutely insane.
I mean, we should just mention it real quick. Her dad was trying to give her Christmas presents through the chimney like Santa, and he fell down and broke his neck. Boo-hoo.
Yeah,
Let's move on.
yeah.
Sat there and rotted for a couple weeks.
Yeah, like 5 days or something. No big deal.
And then there's Gary. This is Judge Reinhold's character, and he also works at the bank. He's trying to be like a high exec guy. I mean, that's really all he does in the movie. There's Pete. That's what's his name? Corey Feldman's character. He's just kind of like a goofy like teenager or something. You know, friends with Billy.
Just lives nearby. Yeah.
Yeah. There's Roy. He's the biology teacher that Billy and Pete bring their Mogwai to, or the Mogwai that Gizmo produces, one of them, so that he can study it.
Run some tests. He's going to run some tests.
Yeah. And then there's Gizmo, who, I mean, is the face of Gremlins. He's a very lovable character. There's Stripe.
Oh, yeah.
Stripe, who's the main villain.
The
Gremlin.
leader of the Gremlins, yep.
Yeah. And that pretty much rounds up all the main characters in the film version. Now, in the screenplay version, we're going to start with Billy again. He's also a bank teller, but he's also a writer, and he's obsessed with medieval type
fantasy. Slaying things with a sword.
Yeah, just anything medieval related. He actually gets a sword at an antique store from a character named Dory.
And it's very sharp.
Yeah, this guy named Dory in the screenplay, he's an Irishman. He's actually the guy who has the Christmas story that Phoebe Cates' character shares in the film.
Right.
So Dory was completely subtracted from the movie.
Yep, he gone.
Billy's dad, Rand, he's just a businessman.
Yep.
That's all he is. And once the Mogwai start replicating themselves, he wants to market them.
The Peltzer pet.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to take advantage of this and just sell them.
Gremlins all over the world.
Imagine that. That would be terrifying.
Yikes.
Lynn, she's arguably the most hilarious character in the screenplay because she's just like a Valium junkie.
Yeah, Billy's mom is just addicted to Valium.
It makes like no sense. She's just popping Valiums like throughout the whole screenplay. I think I counted like 8 times it's specified that she takes a Valium, and it was like 3 times in like 2 pages. So she popped like 3 Valiums within 2 pages.
Minutes,
it was hilarious.
yeah, within minutes. It was impressive. Her stamina, her Valium stamina is very impressive. It's like at Eminem's max level when he was on those. Purple pills, baby. Purple pills. And
then we have Tracy. They changed her name to be Kate. So this is Billy's love interest. And she really does nothing. She's just kind of, an attractive girl, and that's about it.
Yep.
Gary, that's Judge Reinhold's character in the film, and he's a security guard, and he's just a major douchebag.
Yep, but he's also like interested in the girl in the
Yes.
movie, and he's just like in Billy's way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dory, I already spoke about him, but I'll re-go over it. He's an Irishman. He's the owner of an antique shop, and he gives Billy a sword. We got Pete, who's 16 years old, and he actually dies in the screenplay pretty horrifically. He gets dragged through the snow from a gremlin and just gets like a chunk of flesh bitten out of his neck.
Yeah, Corey Feldman's character from the movie.
Yeah,
he just gets owned. He's
that
supposed
was
to be
gruesome.
like fat too. He's supposed to be a fat kid.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if we're gonna say he dies, we have to say the mom dies too, in the screenplay.
Yeah, the mom does die.
Oh, she's just popping Valium, going upstairs right after Billy tells her to not like inspect for the gremlins.
Yeah,
and they like just eat her.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We can talk about the scene in a little bit in more depth. And then we got Roy, the biology teacher. He investigates at Billy's house, but so in the film, that Roy, the biology teacher, he dies in the classroom. In the screenplay, he kind of comes in, does some tests, and then he's gone. He doesn't come back again.
He gone.
And then the last character is just the Mogwai, and they're just savage killers. Which I thought it was weird that the screenplay was actually called Gremlins, because Gary's character is the only guy who ever says
Gremlins. Yeah.
Gremlins, like they're never described as gremlins. Like the gremlin does this, it's always the Mogwai do this. So I just thought that was weird. Whatever.
Oh well, I mean, there's no Gizmo in the screenplay, so
right?
that's
Exactly.
Definitely just kind of like supporting what you were saying. No Gizmo. The Mogwai from the start, even the one Billy gets, the original one, it's like evil. It's kind of evil. And Mogwai also means devil in like some Chinese language.
Yeah, in Cantonese.
It means devil. So that's scary.
It's a red flag already.
Huge red flag.
Exactly, yeah. I think, again, well, like Steven Spielberg, once he read the script, he was like, hey, we got to make one of these a good guy.
Someone the audience can relate to.
One.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of all of them just be bad, yeah.
Yep.
I think he wanted Gizmo to be the hero. I think I heard that he wanted, like, Billy is not the hero of the story. It's actually Gizmo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Go Gizmo.
Joe Howie Mandel for voicing
Yeah,
Gizmo.
right. Jeez,
Get that man an Oscar.
It doesn't even sound like him. You know,
No,
it's
not
like
even
how can you even?
He must have been able to find like no work at that point in time.
Well, he was in Little Monsters too, as a monster. He was just a monster.
We'll move on from Mr. Deal or No Deal.
Next, we're going to talk about the rules that govern the Gremlins, because between the film and the script, they're somewhat similar, but they actually differ a lot as well. So in the film, there's 3 rules, and they are that the Mogwai hate light, and they could potentially die if they're exposed to too much of it, like direct sunlight.
Sunlight will kill it, yeah.
Don't get them wet, because that's how they multiply.
But they don't say that.
Exactly.
They just say don't get them wet.
Right.
It's just like, yo, if all those people in China did was just like finish that sentence, say don't get it wet because it'll multiply.
Yeah, right.
I guess the movie would be a lot different, wouldn't it?
And the final rule is don't feed it after midnight.
Same thing. They could have finished the sentence, but suspense.
In the film, we all know that all these rules get broken. Now, in the screenplay, the first rule is that they hate light, that it could potentially die if it's exposed to too much. Mm-hmm. The second is don't get it wet. The third is that the Mogwai somehow are able to sense water and they seek it out. So, for example, if they're near a lake or something, they're going to be able to sense that a lake is nearby, and they're going to gravitate toward it naturally.
Yeah, they're going to go in
to multiply
because they're evil.
And the final rule is that the Gremlins all need to be together. So, for example, if one of them was taken by somebody, then the whole pack will try to find that one Gremlin because they all need to be together.
They stay in a pack, definitely.
Yes. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention. Because while I was reading this, watching the movie, you know, water is what gets them wet, right? But they're running through the snow. It's like, well, how come the snow doesn't do anything? Snow's like a different state of water, right? Well, in the screenplay, the biology teacher, Roy, says that they can't multiply by water if their environment temperature is below 25 degrees. So he was able to find that out.
But snow freezes at 32.
Yeah.
Dude, he pulled up like a
I don't
weird.
know. That's kind of a silly rule in my opinion. So, I mean, I'm glad that nobody said that, like a specific dialogue, because it's just like, you figured that out so fast. Like, come on. So now that we have the characters and the rules that govern the Gremlins established, you guys want to talk about some scenes that are different?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, I want to talk about first the opening scene, how Rand acquires the Mogwai. Matt, do you want to talk about the film version?
All right, so in the film, the dad's just walking around Chinatown, basically just trying to peddle his like homemade inventions. You know, he's just like acting interested in other people's business just to try to sell them his own crap.
Yeah.
And he just stumbles upon this shop where this little kid says, "Oh, I have something that you won't resist or whatever." And he shows him the Mogwai gizmo, and he can't resist, so he pays him $200. The old man says no, so the kid kind of sells it to him like low key in the alley.
Yeah.
And tells him the 3 rules. You know, don't get him in sunlight, don't get him wet, don't feed him after midnight. And then he just brings it home.
I like how they did that because the old man clearly understood the severity and like the consequences.
Yeah, the old man knew that
mistreating a Mogwai.
Most people can't handle caring for Gizmo because he spawns demons.
Exactly. And I mean, I like that way better actually in the movie, because in the film, in the screenplay, it's a similar situation that the dad is he's shopping for Billy, but he's actually in China, and
just looking for a gift for his kid.
Yeah, he's at some random vendor, and the woman's like, "Oh, like here's a basketball." He's like, "No, I want something different." And some random man comes up behind him and is like, "Oh, I have something for you." So they go back to wherever this guy lives, and he brings out the Mogwai, sells it to him for $200.
Willingly,
yeah, it was really easy. It was just
this guy was evil. He had to be evil.
Exactly, because it's like how could you just give off something so easily? That was ridiculous, man.
Better beginning in the movie, definitely.
Yeah, and then the other thing was, how was he able to get this thing back to the United States?
Right, because I think in the screenplay there was a thing where like there was an exchange with like someone that worked for an airline saying like, "Oh, your pet will be safe." It's like, right. Yo, look inside the box. Like that's not a normal animal.
Exactly, it wouldn't get through customs.
No way.
Don't you?
I mean, this was written in
Howie Mandel making noises.
I mean, this was written in 1982, pre 9/11, of course. But I mean, come on, you wouldn't be able to get that thing past borders.
There's no way.
No, but without that, we wouldn't have a movie.
That's okay.
Oh.
That's why we have movies, to just break rules like that.
Yes. All right, so we're going to fast forward a little bit talking about the screenplay because some of this might get confusing if we were to talk about absolutely everything. So,
yeah, to go scene by scene and say the differences between the movie and the screenplay, we would take a 3-hour
we'd be here
podcast
all day. Yeah. So in the screenplay, once we get up to the point when we discovered that the Mogwai are able to multiply from spilt water, they kill the dog Barney. They
eat him.
They're just eating him under the
graphically
Christmas tree, and Billy discovers it. And
whereas in the movie, they just kind of hang him with the Christmas lights.
Yeah,
That's the only evil thing they do to the dog.
Right. So after the family discovers that the Mogwai have killed their dog, they determine that, okay, we're going to... They somehow like manage to
corral them,
round them all up, and put them into the attic. And they're like, okay, the next day when the sun comes up, we're going to take them outside and kill them. It doesn't work out for them because overnight or just within the 24-hour, 12-hour time span, they go into their metamorphosis stage.
The cocoons, to
of
become
the eggs.
gremlins.
Yes. So
Their pod stage.
Right. We don't know why they do. They just do.
And in the movie, we know they do that because they were fed after midnight.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So now in the movie...
Chris Webber, you don't beat Gizmo after midnight. It's a song.
Oh, yeah, that isn't a song.
What?
What
I
song?
think it's a Chris Webby song.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I don't know.
I can't remember the name of it, but I'll look it up later. Whatever. Chris Webby. Stay relevant, Chris Webby.
Yes.
Keep trying.
So in the movie, when the gremlins hatch, Billy's away at the school, the mom's home alone, and they kind of run around the house. They mess with her. They put on some music, which I like that scene. That scene's like effectively creepy.
Yep.
And they're just like hanging out in the kitchen, and that's when she comes in and throws one in a blender, puts one in a microwave, stabs one multiple times. Pretty cool scene.
She kills 3. Yeah, stabs, microwave, blender.
Yeah.
All good kills.
Yeah.
So in the screenplay, it's a little more graphic. Christopher wanted more death involved, so
Definitely.
the mom, she gets killed off by a bunch of the gremlins, and then that's when Billy comes in, and he has his antique sword that he picked up from the, I guess, pawn shop, whatever you want to call it.
Well, and before Billy's mom dies too, Billy calls her and says, "They're hatching, Mom." He specifically tells her, "Do not go upstairs to the attic." And all she does is pop 3 Valiums and fucking go upstairs. Like
right. It was pretty stupid.
And in one of the original like scripts too, not the one we read. In the one we read, Billy walks up and like sees his mom dead he walks up to the attic looking for his mom, and the gremlins throw down her pill bottle and it's bloody.
Yeah. And
then that's when he's holding his sword and he starts battling the gremlins. But in the original edition, the gremlins toss her head down at Billy's feet, and then the gremlins attack Billy, which is crazy.
It's very different.
That is,
it's totally it's just hilarious how different it
pill
is.
Bottle?
The original vision.
But he goes full like King Arthur with the sword though, which I thought was badass.
And he still gets the blender and microwave kills in there though. Those were originally by Billy and not the mom.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does go insane on the sword with the sword.
I mean, he kills like 8 of them or something, right?
There were 9 gremlins originally that hatched in his attic, and he killed 8. But then one he chops the arm off and it gets away.
Yeah.
And it actually, he's chasing it right through the snow. Do you guys remember it attacked that little girl?
Yeah, dude, that scene. Like,
I thought she was gonna die.
So did I. That could have been really scary.
Oh, the snowman.
Yeah, the gremlin was hiding in a snowman and then attacked the little girl.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna kill a kid.
Yeah, dude, that would have been messed up.
But it didn't kill the kid. The girl gets away alive. Maybe she died later though, because the whole town kind of gets overrun by gremlins.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
because the gremlin ends up getting in the pool.
Yes.
The one Billy's chasing, it gets into the pool, multiplies like crazy.
Yeah. Just nonstop.
Billy tries to go to the cops.
Yes.
They don't believe him.
No. And Gary's there. Like Gary's brother's like a police officer.
I think before cops or after the cops, remember Pete, the old young chubby fat Pete, he gets it pretty you mentioned that earlier, Drew, but he gets it, bit in the neck.
Oh, it kills Pete before he gets in the pool.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Pete.
Yeah, Pete's just like a member of like a caroling group, and then he just gets like pulled away and nobody notices.
By a one-armed gremlin.
I don't know how. Yeah, it must have been really strong because he is described as being a fat kid.
Right. He didn't put up much of a fight.
No.
It's probably a good meal. A lot of meat on the bone. It's fucked up.
It is.
Poor Pete, though. Poor Pete.
I want to bring up the part in this movie where the town is being overrun. Like we have the whole bar scene where where Kate, right, is.
That part's ridiculous. It just feels like a Looney Tunes.
But that's what they wanted it to be.
Exactly.
And it goes on for like quite some time.
4 minutes.
When the gremlin starts breakdancing, I almost it loses me for a second there.
It takes you out. It does take you out.
But once Billy shows up and they escape, like the town is overrun, right? Gremlins are everywhere. You see shots of them like on people, like the cop, right, or the guy in the Santa outfit. He has like 4 gremlins on him, but you don't see people really getting killed. There's no blood.
No.
In the screenplay, it's entirely different because the whole town's overrun and they're all getting killed. Everybody's dead.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the screenplay, like 5, like maybe 3 people survived.
Yes.
And the whole town is dead.
They took out the whole town. Yeah.
Kingston Falls, Pennsylvania. Population 6,112.
Yeah.
God, man.
They took out 6,000.
I just wanted to bring that up. I mean, just how the screenplay had it as complete chaos where everyone was dying, whereas the movie, it was chaos, but it was, like, funny.
Yeah.
Not everyone was dying. People were just getting, like, annoyed by these gremlins.
Yeah.
And hurt, I guess.
So I guess the next major part we could talk about is the theater.
Because all the gremlins go to the theater to, like, be together during the day. And that's how...
It's the darkest spot for them.
Yeah, and that's how they decide to, like, kill them by blowing the theater up.
Yeah.
Which happens in both the screenplay and the movie.
When they're watching Snow White.
Yeah. And they love it.
Yeah.
Hi-ho. Loving it.
What is it?
Huh?
Hi-ho, hi-ho.
Yeah, hi-ho, hi-ho. It's off, away we go. Or something like that. I'm probably not saying it correctly.
I think you just hit it on the head, yeah. We'll keep that in there.
But in the screenplay, so the goal is to blow up the theater, but Gary is involved in this scene, and so is Dory. Dory gets killed off in trying to blow up the theater. And,
old man, yeah. I mean, first to go.
Yeah, and Gary just completely ditches him. I thought his death was like pretty anticlimactic. You know, I thought he was going to get way worse than just getting like sideswiped by like a group, and that was it.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to like build like some more tension. Like maybe he would like try to kill Billy or something. I would have liked to see that. And then after because once they blow up the theater, they actually don't kill all the gremlins. They capture one gremlin, and they're in like a pickup or something, and they're driving away to the edge of town. What's up?
It's like, why did they capture one?
Because in the screenplay, one of the rules is that if one gremlin is separated from the remainder of the pack,
they'll all follow.
Gotcha.
So by capturing one, they could bring the whole pack to a location to kill them.
So like theoretically, you could hold one gremlin hostage and then drive until the sun comes up.
Yeah. But maybe they would leave that one and then just go hide though.
But now,
as the sun come up.
Yeah, you never know. But where they go to is a greenhouse, right? I don't remember why they were going there.
Look, glass windows. Smart.
Oh yeah, duh.
The sun gets right through.
So they go to a greenhouse, and there's like a huge tree in there, and Tracy and Billy are climbing this tree.
As the gremlins are climbing after them, and he's fighting them off with the sword while climbing a tree. What the fuck?
But before they do that, they put him in like a toolbox. They put the hostage gremlin into a toolbox, and they leave him on a table.
Right.
And just as the gremlins are trying to get up to hold on a second. In the screenplay, it says that the gremlins were biting the trunk of the tree,
like beavers.
And they
also, if you didn't know, beaver is the hardest. The beaver is the hardest working animal in the animal kingdom. If you didn't know, I mean,
oh really?
They make dams.
I was trying to get that
trees.
Trying to get that overtime money.
Beavers. All right, let's move on.
Did they chomp the tree down? Do you remember?
Their teeth? Yeah, the tree falls down, and they like. Billy and her name in the screenplay is Tracy. They just kind of like have to ride the tree down. Yeah.
How thick? I want to know how thick the trunk was because that was ridiculous.
It was
So that would have been tough to do in the movie without CGI.
So anyways, they're able to fend off the gremlin horde until the sun comes up. They all get killed. The authorities come. They take Billy and Tracy to the hospital. Mm-hmm. Billy wakes up, and he realizes that he left one gremlin in the toolbox.
Immediately, that's the first thing he thinks of when he comes to, is that he forgot the gremlin in the toolbox. And then
I don't know how you would forget that.
I don't know either. But then we cut to like the people cleaning up the rubble of the greenhouse, and it's like, what is it, a worker?
Yeah, he's a worker. He's just like, oh, look at this tool shed. It's like real new, or not tool shed, a toolbox. Look at that, it's really new. So he takes it.
Yeah, there's no animal in here. Why would there be an animal in there?
He takes it, doesn't even look to see what kind of tools are in there. He just takes it because the box looks nice.
Yeah, but then it starts rumbling around and shit in his car.
Yeah, when he's driving home or whatever, and then he gets spooked.
Yeah, doesn't he just heave it?
Yeah, he gets spooked. He throws it out of the truck, and then it goes down, like the road is apparently next to a hill, and it slides down a hill into a lake, and that's how the screenplay ends. Which, I mean, I actually did like that ending. I thought that was kind of a cool cliffhanger.
Yeah. I just thought maybe that toolbox was waterproof or not, because you don't know if it's that gremlin got some water when he was in there.
We don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea.
You have to assume it was going to multiply and just like gremlins would attack again. They came out with the second one, so.
Yeah, I don't know, but then we got Gremlins too.
Was that written by Columbus?
No, some other guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
He was busy with Home Alone. It's okay.
Yeah.
He was telling Macaulay Culkin how to jump on top of a bed and like put on aftershave.
All right.
Yeah, overall, I mean,
take it away, Chad.
We mentioned earlier that we all want to see this screenplay made into a movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
And for me, the main reason is just like these gremlins are completely evil.
Yeah.
Like, the carnage, I don't want to see a bunch of people die. Like,
right.
Because they wouldn't have had to show that as much. But I want to see the sword, man. I want to see Billy going around with a sword, fighting gremlins. Like, the whole medieval aspect in the screenplay was really cool, I thought. And I'm not like a medieval nerd junkie or anything like that. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of movies where the main character is, like, protecting his people with a sword.
Yeah.
In modern day. I thought it was cool.
What about you, Brian?
Oh, 100% agree with Matt. The screenplay, I wanted to see the new full movie. Just for all the action, all the drama, just the horror aspect of it.
Yeah.
The movie's great. It's a good time to rewatch it again because I don't know how many times we've seen it, but it was funny because like our Christmas Eve party, we're like, we watch Gremlins. Inside joke that we've always watched Gremlins. So
yeah.
It's good to come back to this one.
Yeah.
I highly enjoy it.
Yeah. No, yeah, man. I mean, Gremlins is easily one of my favorite movies. Probably going to have to get the poster to add to the recording area for sure.
It has a really cool movie poster, anyways. It's
cool. It does.
Yeah.
And I mean,
T-shirts. I forget about the T-shirts.
But I think this was the second time I've read the screenplay, and this is probably one of my favorite screenplays to read because it's just really fun and
it was quick.
The pace,
I ran through like 1:15. Like I was like, damn, I'm done.
The pace moves really quickly. It's an engaging read. There's definitely a lot to learn from Gremlins for sure.
Oh yeah.
No matter what platform you're using to listen to us, I just want it to be known that we're available on iTunes, Spreaker, and YouTube. So if you like our content, please be sure to follow all of our channels so you can stay in the loop with new episodes. Also, feel free to give us a rating and leave us comments, or send us an email at screenplayjunkie.show@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. Also, if you have any recommendations of screenplays we should read, movies we should watch, or really anything, let us know on any of our platforms. We're always looking for other things to check out. On the next episode, we're going to be talking about the 2014 action-packed film John Wick, starring Keanu Reeves. Thank you for listening. We hope you can join us next time.